This happened 2 summers ago, and even now, just thinking about it makes my stomach tighten. I had gone hiking alone in a pine forest in northern Michigan. I loved that area. Tall, towering trees that seemed to stretch endlessly into the sky. The earthy smell of pine needles crushed underfoot. The kind of peace you don't get in the city. I had done solo hikes before, and though I knew people said it was dangerous, I always found it freeing. It was late afternoon, maybe a little after 4. The sunlight filtered through the trees in long golden streaks, and I figured I had a couple of hours before sunset. Instead of heading back early, I decided to push further and take a longer trail. It was one I'd never tried before. Narrow, winding deeper into the woods, away from the more popular paths. About halfway in, I noticed something strange. The usual soundtrack of the forest, birds calling, bugs buzzing, leaves rustling in the wind, was gone, completely gone. It was so quiet that the only sound was my boots crunching against the dirt and pine needles. At first, I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was just that part of the forest, but the silence started to weigh on me. It was the kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels wrong. Then I heard it. At first, I thought I was imagining things. A faint, distant noise cutting through the stillness. But as I stopped and listened harder, I realized what it was. A scream. A woman's scream. It was far off, but clear enough that it made every hair on my arms stand up. My first instinct was panic, but quickly it turned into concern. What if someone was hurt? What if a hiker had fallen or gotten attacked by an animal? I cupped my hands around my mouth and called out, "Hello? Do you need help?" My voice echoed strangely through the trees, but there was no answer. Just silence. I waited for a moment, straining to hear, and then it came again. The same scream, louder this time, closer. But something about it made my stomach twist. It didn't sound quite right. It wasn't filled with panic the way you'd expect. It was flat, almost rehearsed, like someone pretending to scream. That's when the fear really set in. I turned back toward the direction I had come from, deciding it was time to cut my hike short. As I walked, I kept telling myself it had to be another hiker messing around, or maybe some kind of animal making a weird noise. But the deeper that thought sank in, the less I believed it. I picked up my pace, moving quickly down the trail, eyes darting between the trees. My heart was pounding now, my ears tuned to every sound. That's when I heard it again. The scream, only this time it was much, much closer. I froze in my tracks. The sound seemed to echo from every direction, bouncing between the trunks of the pines. I spun around, my eyes scanning, but the forest looked completely empty. Just endless rows of trees, fading into the shadows. "Hello?" I called out again, my voice shaking. "Is someone there?" No response. Only silence. I started walking faster, nearly jogging now, keeping my eyes fixed on the faint strip of trail ahead. My chest felt tight, every instinct screaming at me to get out. But the screams didn't stop. They kept following me, first faint, then closer still. At one point, it sounded like it was just a few yards behind me. I whipped around, expecting to see someone standing there. But there was nothing but trees. The worst part? The screams were all the same. Exactly the same pitch, the same length, the same sound over and over, like a recording being played on repeat. That was when my fear turned into pure terror. I broke into a run, tearing down the trail as fast as I could. My backpack bounced against me, branches scratched my arms, and my breath came in sharp, ragged gasps. Still, behind me, the screams echoed, rising and falling, always just close enough to push me forward. I didn't stop, not until the trees thinned and the gravel of the parking lot crunched under my boots. Only then did I dare to look back, and when I did, the forest was silent again. Completely, utterly silent. I stood there, bent over, hands on my knees, trying to catch my breath. My heart was still hammering in my chest, and the sweat on my back felt cold in the evening air. I stared at the trail, half expecting something or someone to step out of the trees, but nothing ever did. Later that week, I told a local friend about what I'd experienced. As soon as the words, "a woman screaming," left my mouth, his face went pale. "You shouldn't have been hiking there alone," he said flatly. When I pressed him, he told me there were old stories about those woods, stories about something, or maybe someone, that lures people deeper in by mimicking human voices. Sometimes a child cries. Sometimes a woman screams. And sometimes even your own name, called from just beyond the trees. The way he said it made me believe he wasn't joking. He told me that every year, hikers go missing in that area. People who head out on a trail and never come back. The search teams usually find nothing. No gear, no clothing, no tracks. Just silence. I don't know what I heard that day. Maybe it was a person playing a cruel joke. Maybe it was some animal making sounds I couldn't explain. Or maybe it was something else. Something that wasn't human at all. All I know is this: I'll never hike alone again. Because sometimes when the woods go silent, it means they're listening. And sometimes they scream back.